If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.
Welcome back to the Robert and Drew Show. As always, I'm Robert.
And I'm Crew.
Tonight we are doing Ancient Egypt Part 2. As guys in the first season, if you've been here with us for the majority of these podcasts, you know that the first season we did a series or an episode on Ancient Egypt.
Hello, Julie.
Since then, hi Julie, how are you tonight? Since then, since the Ancient Egypt episode, we have gotten new ancient Egypt knowledge. Do you know the big news, Crew? Do you know what archaeologists just found?
Mm-mm.
The pyramids of Giza. A lot of people have always thought that maybe, just maybe, they were power plants. Well, guess what? They're giant coils and passages that for miles and miles below, miles and miles below pyramids. What's up, Brandon? Basically, all of these people were right. Pyramids are officially power plants. And they look like Tesla coils. Like electric coils.
That's funny.
And basically, the pyramid that's there was a gold cap to the pyramid. It's actually funny thing about this is our background picture right now. Actually, the Pyramid of Giza, and you see that cap, that gold cap right there,
Yeah.
on that pyramid.
Yeah.
That when struck by lightning, that we would go down through the pyramid to the coils, and the water that was running through the pyramid from the Nile would supposedly energy, basically free energy via water and electricity, all through these giant Tesla coils that are underneath the pyramids. We just legitimately found that out. And on top of all of that, pyramids we're told forever were what?
Tombs.
Yeah, they're not. They never were. There was probably maybe one or two pharaohs were buried inside of pyramids. Every pyramid didn't have any sarcophagi or actual dead bodies in them. And you can look up for yourself. That's all real. Most pyramids were not used as tombs. And pyramids are found all over the planet. We've got them in, supposedly we found one in Antarctica. Supposedly, but we have them all over Mexico. So it's pretty interesting.
Hey, Brandon pointed this out. There's a really bad lag in your connection.
No, my connection is good.
You're, dude. No, I'm serious, bro. Like I can even hear it. Like Brandon and I both can hear it. Like you're cutting in and out.
To tell you, maybe I can give me a second, guys.
Let's see if he can get it fixed. Well, I'm using my phone and I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi right now, and I don't really have that problem usually. He'll be back. Anyways, how is everybody doing tonight? Yeah, I got off work about few hours ago, so I've been chillaxing at home. All right, Robert, let's see how well your connection is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So is it's all good?
Oh yeah.
Okay, do you want to know what it was?
What?
My Xbox was turned on. As soon as I turned the Xbox off, it stopped doing it.
Mm.
So I guess the box was pulling the Wi-Fi and it was setting up right. But
Yep, that will
anyways,
happen.
what talking about pyramids?
Well, I've always known that they held like pharaohs and all the pharaohs' money and personal.
A couple tombs.
Yeah, they also had their family with them, their servants, stuff like that. Um, I also knew that they would also keep their pets with them as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of mummified animals. Um, a lot of these pyramids were not tombs. They weren't. They were never tombs. They were never used as tombs. Um, it's not a city. What's underneath it, Brandon, is giant hills. I actually have a video that we can play that we can show you. Basically, they used a thing called lidar. Lidar be used on airplanes and drones. So basically, flew a giant helicopter over the pyramids and used the lidar. I don't know if they got approval for it. It's something you kind of have to get approval for. So basically, when they used the lidar, they realized there were these coil-like structures that resemble Tesla wheels, and they go for miles beneath the pyramids. It's pretty insane, actually. I got a video for it. Let's actually go ahead and we're gonna find this and see if we can't play it. Well, let's play the first video anyway.
So the Giza power plant, I described the Great Pyramids. It reacted to the Earth vibration.
How does it work?
And it was tuned harmonically to the vibrations of the Earth. Through that, they were able to stimulate electron flow in the central granite chamber and produce microwave energy. Proportions tuned harmonically to the vibrations of the Earth.
This is exactly what I was talking about. this is exactly what I was talking about. So so the pyramids, if they did or were used for alien activity or technology, the technology, in my opinion, would have probably actually came from stars. And the reason I say that is the pyramids line up perfectly with select few stars.
Hmm.
So if aliens do come from stars or come from like, because Crew doesn't believe that space exists. Okay. So Crew would disagree with me, and Crew would go probably more along the lines of the aliens come from the outer lands. So the pyramids align with those stars though for a reason, and it could be alien, or it could be that the Egyptians were just they just wanted to be able to perfectly tell like what directions were like cardinal directions, and the pyramids, in a sense, if I remember correctly, could actually calculate like certain like time, and because of the side, like because of the size and where the sun would hit, they would know what time it was just by the sun hitting the pyramid. There's a lot of like different reasons why the pyramids were built. Definitely do have some sort of star connection because they directly connect to these constellations. I can actually pull that up for you real quick to tell you which constellations it are, because I don't want to sound like a jackass talking out of my ass or something. Because I know that this is true. I learned a lot about it when I was younger because I was so interested in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Giza Pyramid constellations. Yeah, so the Orion correlation. This the three pyramids of Giza, Khufu, Kafir, and Minkaru, were intentionally aligned to mirror these three stars in belt. Elenaki, Ale Ilum, and Minitaka. Posed by Robert Bouval in the 1980s. The idea is that around 10,500 BCE, these stars around the pyramid when viewed of reflect the ancient Egyptian reverence for in a constellation to Osiris, their god of the afterlife.
Hmm.
So they suppose so they do for sure love these three stars in the belt of Orion.
Mm-hmm.
Weird thing is they can't prove if it was done purposefully or not, but it's a weird thing that they do that. Yes. So King Tut's tomb actually, when when King's Tut's tomb was opened up, supposedly a whole bunch of people died that saw or touched Tut's sarcophagi. So one could say possibly cursed. It's very weird that like six of them like car wrecks and one of them a heart attack, and they all die like, days after the tomb was opened. Very weird. Again, could also just be a legend.
Yeah, I believe it's a legend. I don't believe in the curse of King Tut's tomb.
Do you don't believe in the Tut curse?
Mm-mm.
Crazy.
It makes a good, scary Egyptian story, though.
It does, that's for sure. Yeah, the video that we watched of the pyramids, and the coil like structures beneath it, they said basically the it would harmonize to different vibrations and possible seismic activity and things like that. It would analyze that and it would create energy, or at least that's what they believe.
Hmm.
Someone killed them to hide the knowledge. That's probably more likely. I can't say that it happened, but it's more likely. All right, guys, we're gonna do another video. The first photo of the pyramids, taken in 1859. Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Or 1859. That's crazy. 1859. So we had. When did the first camera like happen?
I
What
couldn't
was
tell
the
you.
main camera that was used?
I don't know.
That's stupid. That's actually stupid interesting. Um, I've never thought about that before.
Right.
What kind of camera was used when they took the very first picture of the pyramids? Let's see what Grok has to say. The first photograph of the pyramids of Giza, specifically in the Great Sphinx, was taken by Max Camp in 1849. This method involved a camera that was essentially a wooden box with a lens, designed to expose light-sensitive paper coated with silver iodide. The calotype process was notable for producing paper negatives from which multiple positive prints could be made, unlike the earlier daguerreotype, which was produced a single unique image on a metal plate. The specific camera Duchamp used was likely a modified version of the equipment typical calotype photography at the time. The camera was very large and cumbersome and required long exposure times, often several minutes. Due to the low sensitivity of the negative, Camp's own accounts mention the challenges working with this equipment in the Egyptian desert, including the need to prepare and develop the negatives on site using portable darkroom tents and chemicals. His was published in 1852 in the book Egypt, Nubia, Palestine, and Syria, among the earliest photographic records of the complex capturing the pyramids and the Sphinx, a statue where the latter was partially buried in sand up to its shoulders. The exact make or model of this camera is unspecified. But the cameras, it was probably the calotype. Okay. So it's a calotype camera. Do we know what a calotype camera looks like?
Um.
Please
Let's
show me a
see.
picture of a calotype camera. Hey, it's bringing me up a picture. I love Grok. Grok is my favorite. Oh my god, that is so cool. It brought up a picture of calotype in pyramids because Grok heard me talk about pyramids. If this doesn't prove that your phone is listening to everything that you're doing, I don't know what is. This is either a coincidence, crew, or this is just plain fucking creepy. Look at the picture
Right.
it gave me.
Oh
No.
wow.
Look in the background.
Oh
Look
wow.
in the background.
Right. Two
The
pyramids.
fucking
That's awesome.
pyramids.
Right.
And there's the camera that was probably used to take the photo.
Yeah. That's
That's
awesome. I
crazy.
like that.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge equals power for sure. I love learning about stupid stuff like that, though. Like, think about that. Like, it's not stupid. It's actually really fucking cool. Think about it. The first camera, the Cali camera, was so big and bulky that he said it took over 14 tries just to get the the right picture with the right exposure with the right light. And then you have to carry that camera wherever you go. Egyptian desert didn't make it easy. So imagine how crazy that must have been and how frustrating it must have just to get a good photo.
Hmm.
Can you imagine carrying that thing around, bro?
I mean, with how big it is, and I mean, would have a little weight on it. No, personally would not carry that thing around.
If you're lucky, you get to put it on the back of a camel, right? If the
Yeah,
camel doesn't drop and break it
yeah.
and shit. You know what I mean? So like that's what you have to worry about with the camel. So you're either
Hmm.
like you're strapping it to the camel and you're riding the camel out there, and then you're hoping the camel doesn't like break the camera on the way down, or you're just walking with it,
Right.
which is insane. Imagine having to like a Calio type camera probably weighed at least 20 pounds, right? If not more.
Hmm.
Big camera. It's like carrying a
That's
dumbbell, like a 20-pound dumbbell with you wherever you go.
yeah, Brandon. I feel you on that one. I got to be careful when I'm talking about health stuff because then I get health ads all the freaking time.
Oh, we were talking. I asked the phone what a cat type looked like, and it showed me a Callia type camera with what behind it?
Pyramids.
Pyramids. And that is weird.
Yeah.
Why did it choose the pyramids as the background when we're talking about Egypt and the pyramids?
Right.
That's weird.
These prophecies about the ancient pyramids of Egypt will blow your mind. A man who lived in the 16th century wrote many poems that predicted future events. His name was Nostradamus. He prophesied the coming of the World War II German leader, the nuclear bombs on Japan, and the JFK situation, just to name few. But Nostradamus also wrote about many monumental structures and ancient sites, but this poem in particular stands out.
In the land of the pharaohs, where kings once slept, a secret lies buried. In the sand swept, a beacon of power from ages past shall rise again, its wisdom vast.
Many believe that this is about Giza, and believe that he foresaw a time when the true purpose of the pyramids would be revealed.
Under the ancient stones, secrets lie, guarded by time, unseen by the eye. When the stars align and darkness fades, the truth will emerge from the pyramid's shades.
This implies that the pyramid holds secrets waiting to be uncovered, secrets that could change our understanding of history and our place in the universe. This aligns with the alternative understanding that the pyramids were not merely tombs, but powerful energy centers. They were gigantic power plants that were able to transcend time and space. Nostradamus' prophecies often speak of cycles and the return of ancient wisdom. When do you think this return of wisdom will occur, and will it change the world as we know it?
Well, I will tell you for sure that that prophecy is coming true right now. 100%. We just found that those coils are underneath the pyramids.
Hmm.
We found out that the pyramids are energy centers. That's weird, man. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's literally happening. Thomas talked about it. And Julie's like, and today I ended up seeing a post about the pyramids.
That's funny.
Hilarious. It's so true. Phones listen to us. They
Hmm.
they listen to all of us, guys. That's why I say there's no like if you have a phone, you can't hide from the government. The government already knows where you are. They know what you say. They know who you talk to. They know all of your text messages. They probably have your emails, credit cards. If you have a phone, you're being constantly watched. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have a phone, you're being watched.
Hmm. Ain't that the
And
truth?
that's why it blows me away when people, and that's why it blows me away when like the CIA or the FBI tells people instead of a cell phone. Like, shut up. Yes, you can. You all know you can. Like the dude that tried to unalive Trump on live TV. They told everybody they couldn't get into his cell phones. The
That's a
CIA
lie.
and the FBI, and for whatever reason, that cell phone. The CIA was like, we can't get into any of them. What? That's a joke, in my opinion.
Right.
Egypt's history is a tapestry of ancient civilizations, monumental achievements, and cultural evolution. It began around 3100 BCE with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt under the first pharaoh, Menes. This marked the start of the early dynastic period, followed by the Old Kingdom, known for the construction of the pyramids, including the Great Pyramid of Giza. The Middle Kingdom saw a resurgence in art, literature, and architecture, while the New Kingdom, Egypt's most prosperous era, produced famous pharaohs like Tutankhamun and Ramses II. The decline began with the Third Intermediate Period, leading to foreign rule by the Persians, Greeks, and Romans. In 641 CE, Egypt was conquered by Arab Muslims, introducing Islam and Arabic culture. The Ottoman Empire ruled from the 16th century until the British occupation in 1882. Egypt gained independence in 1952, becoming a republic under President Nasser. Today, Egypt's rich history continues to captivate the world, with its ancient monuments standing as a testament to its glorious past.
So you know about Ramses, right? And
Yeah.
Ramses the second, Ramses the
Mhm.
third.
Yep.
So like you know how like basically people believed that Tut was an alien. Have you
Mhm.
heard that?
I did hear about that.
And have you heard that it's because of his skull?
Hmm.
Because he has an elongated skull.
Yep.
And like people tried that like Tut probably had his head bound because they could do that. You know where you can bound a head and it like elongates because you bounded it
Hmm.
when they were an infant or whatever. But
Yeah.
basically, the theory is that King Tut's head was too bulbous to be bound. Like it
Mhm.
wasn't bounded because of the already shaped. And supposedly he was an Anunnaki baby. He was the offspring of an Anunnaki and a woman, a human woman.
Mm.
So supposedly Tutankhamun was alien in origin. He may have been human, but he was like the world's first hybrid. Or not,
Mm.
probably not first. Probably not first. There were probably many, many more. But
Yeah.
that's all alleged. Obviously, we don't have aliens to show you. I wish I could show you an alien and be like, "That's the alien that impregnated King Tut." But I can't do that. Sorry, I don't
Yeah.
have that ability.
Yeah. We don't got that information, and we can't prove it. It's all alleged.
No, but I love that story. I love the story
Right.
of King Tut's origin and the possible alien origin. Like that is one of my favorites.
Oh well. Okay. So let's go back to Ramses II for a second. Okay. That's funny. But
If my phone's listening, I need more toys from the government, please.
okay. So Ramses II, around his time, you remember when the Israelites went into Egypt and tried to escape from slavery?
So we're starting to slowly learn the way Egypt probably didn't enslave Israel.
Actually,
We're no, like honestly, we're starting to actually find out that they basically we were all lied to and told that the ancient Egyptians used a lot of slaves, and they don't get me wrong, they definitely had slave force. Okay, like they definitely had slaves, but it was nowhere near the amount that was claimed biblically or historically, and improve it now. And a lot of the Israelites that stayed in Egypt chose to stay in Egypt, and they
Well,
figured it out and
oh,
basically lived really good lives. Like the treated the Israelites act pretty good, believe it or
I
not.
I'm
And
going to talk about
there were
Moses' time real quick though.
right. That's it's the Bible. That's fine. You could talk about Moses' time, but I'm telling you, archaeologists and historians have now like actually uncovered data that basically says that the ancient Egyptians definitely had Israelite slaves. Okay, like probably the ones that were not liked, probably the ones that were not cared for, the other Israelites and things like that stole and people that did screw things. They also had like a whole class of people that probably just got kidnapped and put into slavery. Okay, like
Right.
I wouldn't put it past them if there was like 5 to like 10 to maybe 20 to maybe even 30,000 enslaved at one point in Egypt. But those people didn't build the pyramids, and we
So,
can
okay.
prove that. There was
Right.
no way for the slaves to build the pyramids.
Right. So here's what I'm going to bring up. Okay. So when I was watching a documentary on YouTube, right? Remember when I was telling you about that one Asian Christian who does like goes around the world and looks up biblical areas?
Yeah.
Well, he was doing an episode on Egypt.
Oh, by the way, guys, this is all for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. So
But anyway, continue.
he went to Egypt and he was trying to find any trace of Israel in Egypt, right?
Yeah.
He found places that belonged to Israelites who had their, like foundations that used to be Israelites' homes.
Mhm.
He went to this one museum
Excuse me.
that had ancient Egyptian artifacts in it, right? And he went to
Yeah.
this big old stone in the back that they don't have in display. And he asked the lady who was working there, he's like, I'm looking for anything Israel. And she's like, come follow me to the back. I'm going to show you this big old stone. It has words on there. And she said, this is the only thing
Was it a tablet?
that it's not a tablet. It's a big old stone, like, structure,
Like a
right?
stone pillar? Like a
Yeah.
pillar?
Pillar with words on it.
Or obelisk?
Kind of, well, not an obelisk. It's like one of those big old, like, block stones. Round
Right.
block stones, has a bunch of like Egyptian words on it, and there's only one word
Yeah.
that showed Israel, and
Yeah.
they did not call the Israelites Israelites. They called them a different word.
Well, to the pharaohs and to the so I grew up Jewish. I should know this, but basically we're taught, I was taught as a kid in Hebrew school that we were called the Israelites. But basically it was um they had a different word for it because they spoke it in a different language, but they were the Hebrews, basically the Hebrew people. The and the a lot of the Egyptians back in the day didn't like the Hebrew people because they thought that they were invading their country at their time. Sound like anything here? Basically, they enslaved the Hebrew people that they didn't like. That became a big deal. Then you get the Moses story, where Moses leads the enslaved Israelites out of Israel.
Oh,
And
okay.
then we
This is
find out later on, way before you cut off here, this is what I learned in Hebrew school. So Moses comes to Israelites after he grows older, after he's raised by a pharaoh, by the way. He's raised by a fucking pharaoh, and he's treated like a king. Moses was treated like a king in ancient Egyptian lore. Then he goes off and he freaking hi Brandon. And then he goes
Night,
off
Brandon.
and he takes the Israelites that are enslaved and runs off and supposedly parts the Red Sea, and they walk through and the plagues are unleashed on Egypt, and Egypt has a horrible thing happen over and over and over and over again until the fall of the empire of the pharaohs. So basically, Moses gets with the Israelites, but we're starting to realize that the real story is there probably wasn't very many plagues, and if there was plagues, they were so phenomenal that were kind of exaggerated. Which famine with locusts was very like it happened all the time. It was those things that like it didn't only happen to Egypt. It happened all over Africa. Literally, locusts would destroy crops everywhere, absolutely everywhere. They eat everything. Now, did God send them? Who knows? Maybe.
well,
The rivers turning red, that does happen, but scientists have proven now because rivers turn red now all the time here. Like not maybe not in America, but if you look up rivers that run red as blood, you can find that right now on Google. And rivers that they have recently found that have turned red, completely red.
I
And those
found the
are
word,
ionized oxygenated water.
what they called the Israelites. And I'm going to read this
What
because
they
this is
call
what I was talking about. Okay. So the ancient Egyptians referred to the Israelites by various names, including Shasu of Yahweh. This term was found in an inscription at the Temple of Celeb, built by Pharaoh Amenhotep III around
Imhotep.
BC, 1400 BC. The Shasu were a
It's
group of Semitic-speaking peoples, and the addition,
Semitic.
in addition of Yahweh suggests a connection to the Israelites worshipped of the god Yahweh. Another inscription, known as the Merneptah stele, dated to around 1208 BC, mentions Israel, explicitly boasting a pharaoh. I'm not even going to say his name. Starts with the M. Military victories in Canaan. This is considered one of the earliest extra biblical references to Israelites as a distinct nation. This inscription provides valuable evidence of the ancient Egyptians' awareness of the Israelites
Mammon.
and their distinct identity.
Is it Pharaoh Mammon?
Merneptah the Third.
Oh, Memetep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's Motep and then Meretep, and yeah, no. So there were pharaohs that enslaved Israelites. Like, don't get me wrong here. Like, I'm not saying that all Israelites like that's not true. I'm saying quite a few Israelites chose to live really good lives in Egypt. Remember this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
those were the ones that go with Moses. The ones that didn't go with Moses were like, Pharaoh's nice to us. He gives us food. He loves us. Stay in here. This was like, okay, whatever. You guys live under Pharaoh's rule. You guys live under Pharaoh's.
But
And then he
yeah,
left.
the correct word they used called the Israelites was Shasu of Yahweh.
Yeah. But I've never heard that, so I don't know. Like, we taught that in Hebrew school. We were
Well,
just taught that we were
it's
Hebrew or the Israelites.
it's from the Egyptians. Like Israelites
It's
did not know, but
no, I know
Egypt,
what you mean, but
yeah,
you'd think that we would have been told that
right,
in Hebrew school because we learned
right.
other things like how they very insistent on the fact that Pharaoh was horrible and crude to the Israelites, that he hated us, and we are starting to find out that he only hated a select few of them.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, okay, so when Moses was trying to help a lot of Israelites escape Egypt and go back to
Yeah,
their homelands, a bunch
yeah.
of Egyptians, the Pharaoh and his armed military were chasing them and got swept away by the ocean.
Yeah, supposedly. But any evidence of that?
Actually,
Just like we have no evidence of the Red Sea parting.
well, here's the thing.
There's no
Okay,
evidence of
so here's the thing. When I was watching that documentary, right, the Egyptians who was talking to the Asian dude, right, were telling them about
uh-huh.
that part of history. And they were showing him where exactly it happened.
If they
That they
have
were
proof
told
of
through
that, why
generation to
haven't they
generation.
released it? Right. If they have proof of that, why have they not made a big deal of it? And why is it not released? Because that would make everybody in the entire world God.
Well, okay, so
Intent. Like, I'm
here's the
being
thing.
honest. That would literally make every atheist drop what they're doing and believe immediately in God, because that
Okay,
story is
so
like
okay,
God.
so when you go to Egypt, right, and go to
Yeah.
specific parts where Israelites were at, right, the parts
Yeah, for sure.
that you have to look at the structures that have Egyptian words on them, and you have to read, and you have to have the translators with you to read what those say, and it tells you, and
Most
those
people can't read.
right, but the Egyptians who can read that, who studied it, right, will tell you,
I bet I bet you can
exactly,
put it in AI.
right.
I bet you could put it in AI now. But you could feed pictures of hieroglyphs to AI. I bet AI could tell you exactly what we're being in hieroglyphs.
And the Asian dude, he has this technology that can show what structures used to look like back in the day via technology. Like he would do like a 3D like imagery on his device,
Right.
and he would literally, what he would do is he would have this one device scan the entire land, everything around it, under the ground, and then he will put it into his computer, and the 3D device will create everything what it will. It would be kind of like a time, kind of like that one device they have in the Vatican, but it's not like that. It's just, it shows
The chronovisor.
everything that used to be there. Yeah, it would, but his device would show everything in 3D what it would look like. And what he would do is he would move his device like this, just seeing structures that used to be there. And his
But how is he doing this?
he's using technology,
What technology?
like
How
advanced
does anything?
technology.
Okay. Do we have proof of this, or is this alleged?
No, it's proof.
And what docu
Okay,
what
so
docu series is?
it's like on the History Channel or the National
Oh my
Geographic
god,
Channel.
History Channel is so fucking bad. Both of those channels are so fucking bad misinformation.
but here's the thing.
What
This
was it? It was a documentary with on ancient Egypt.
well,
The
this dude
documentary.
goes to like different like Christian like lands, and will like and
Guy that
everything he
goes
knows.
looking
It's a
for
he's an
intel
Asian dude with
stuff.
with a prosthetic leg.
No other land. Israeli co-director of the Academy Award-winning film documentary No Other Land. That doesn't seem right. I thought the guy was Asian.
Hold on.
You can't watch No Other Land because apparently it's banned here in America.
Hold on.
That's funny. I didn't find anything, brother. So you're thinking about crazy theories. That's that's true. That's our crew.
I'm looking him up right now. Give me a second.
While he's looking that up, we are going to watch another video.
How do you explain this?
Pyramids all across the world looking quite similar, including the entries, and yet none of those cultures, according to the mainstream history, ever even met each other. What's also interesting is that these entries resemble the entries that you can see in the painting Last Supper. The similarities in architecture all across the world really makes you think. Mainstream history tells you the cultures across the continents never had contact with each other, but that would suggest differently. It's almost as if triangles have some mysterious powers, and ancient cultures knew more about that.
True. And cultures probably did have a lot of ancient powers. And they knew that certain structures and certain things had ways to create energy or ways to benefit their lives in certain ways if they built things in certain ways. I do believe that 100%.
Alright, check this shit out because this theory could prove that ancient civilizations actually had contact with each other across the world. According to the history books, there was absolutely no contact with outside cultures, but there are pyramids in 5 continents, with similarities that don't make any sense if history is correct. These are thousands of miles away, and almost all of them have this 3-window structure. Have you ever seen the photo of the Last Supper? Look in the background, it's the exact same windows. Mexico, Cambodia, and all the way in Egypt. All created in a time when traveling across the ocean wasn't a thing. Keep watching because it's about to get really good. The Bahamas recently discovered a massive man-made limestone road underwater, and at one time the limestone was cut perfectly. And these land bridges are popping up all over the world, all headed out to sea pointing at the direction of new land. Or like this one recently found in Sakhalin, Russia, when a massive storm sucked all the water out, revealing this massive road leading out into the middle of the ocean. Or like this one a NASA satellite recently discovered, now known as Adam's Bridge, connecting Sri Lanka and India. So could it be that these cultures somehow had a way to connect with each other? The similarities are almost undeniable. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Massive land bridges. Where have those been? Hiding underwater this entire time. Holy crap. Nobody knew. Have you found it yet, crew?
I'm looking.
You might never find
I'm
it,
having
guy.
to go to YouTube. Give me a second. Or give me a moment. I'm looking. Let's
Did you
see
know the
here.
Great Pyramid of Giza used to shine like gold? Let's talk about the mysterious gold capstone. Ancient texts and historians suggest the Great Pyramid once had a capstone made of gold or electrum, a mix of gold and silver. This would have made the pyramid gleam under the sun, visible for miles. But where is it now? Here's the mystery. It disappeared centuries ago. Some believe it was looted during the chaos of Egypt's decline. Others think it was removed by invading armies or treasure hunters. No one's found it, though. Some even say it might have been melted down, the gold reused for other treasures, lost forever, or waiting to be discovered. What do you think happened to the golden capstone of the pyramids? Let me know in the comments. Follow for more ancient Egypt mysteries.
What happened to the capstone, guys? Who took it? Who took that fucking stuff?
Ah, here we go. Okay.
Someone ought to beat the crap out of that person
The
that took
Christian's
that
name.
capstone.
Okay, so this Christian who is on National Geographic, right? His name's
No.
Albert Lin. And he did an episode called The Old Testament Genesis and Exodus, full episode, Buried Secrets of the Bible. And basically, I'm going to show you real quick. This guy right here. See him? That guy right there. What he does is he goes to different parts, and they showed him in the museum that thing I was talking about that said the word Shasu and the word Israel.
Gotcha. What was his name? Albert what?
Albert Lin. Lin is his last name. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the thing I was talking about, Rob, that thing right there. That's what he looked at.
Okay. Oh, no. Okay, I just looked him up, and yes, he is legitimate. There's nothing about him using some crazy thing to do whatever. Because he did use LiDAR to uncover archaeological discoveries, which I was talking about earlier. They're all using LiDAR.
So
that's how they're
right. So he used LiDAR, right? To like
he's finding these ancient structure things.
Yeah, with technology, LiDAR technology. And he's making it 3D designs on the device from the LiDAR to his device. And it's really cool.
Yeah, no, LiDAR is what I was talking about. That's how they found out what was underneath the pyramids. They had to use a big helicopter to fly over and use LiDAR on the pyramids itself. And that's how they uncovered that the pyramids have giant coil-like systems underneath them.
They think that the people who built the pyramids built them way earlier than the conventional dating is. They think there's real evidence that shows they're 9,000, 11,000 years old. Easy.
No people built the pyramids.
No people?
No.
Who built them?
No people built the pyramids. And if you look around the world, you see certain telltale things that let you know that advanced machinery was in usage. Look, this whole thing where slaves are stronger people is a fallacy. We like to believe that slaves are stronger. Slaves are weaker because they don't eat the right food and they live a terrible life. Your slave population is not smarter and better condition unless you're enslaving the Jews.
The pyramid. They stopped thinking that quite a while ago. They think it was actually skilled labor because of the way they were eating. They found what their camps were, where their food was. They ate like very good food. So they think they were actually skilled labor, but also probably forced skilled labor. But that's probably not the people who built it. That's probably the people that were working on it. That's probably the people that worked in the village or in the city.
How many companies have done renovations on the White House? None of them have done enough renovation that they can claim it's their White House. So, yes, thousands of years worth of people were there. But that doesn't have anything to do with the building of it.
Who do you think built it?
Well, understand, we know enough now to understand that this was a complex. This was not...
right.
We've been led to believe that this is how much they worshipped their dead bodies.
Right.
But the evidence doesn't show any of that.
No, it doesn't.
Like when you see inside when they have those intricate carvings and paintings and stuff in gold and stuff, you have to remember this is in a windowless room, folks. There's no candle soot. There's no... it's clearly a power plant and built specifically from hot water springs underneath it.
So it was powered by the hot water springs?
Information about humankind. You find out that in all parts of history, people were coming to this region for their information and their knowledge and their things that were forbidden. And these were not, these were the highest of human civilization. Here.
Not even comparable to anyone else.
No.
Nor since. Nor
now
since.
Or, yeah.
Nor since.
Right.
The Great Pyramid of Giza is insane.
Right.
It's insane.
Like, even Tesla says that this is where he came to get the information. But if you follow that information path...
Yeah. So Kat is kind of saying the same I was saying. But we found out that it's not water running through the pyramids that created the power. We now have giant structures that are underneath the pyramids. Extreme structures, huge structures. Absolutely crazy.
In 1974, the mummy of Ramses II was sent on a flight to Paris for preservation and maintenance. However, since French law required every person, living or dead, to fly with a valid passport, Egypt was forced to issue a passport for the pharaoh 3,000 years after his death.
That's lame.
Yeah, they had to legitimately make a passport for a dead guy because they weren't allowed to fly him to France without one, or Spain or whatever. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
A 3,000-year-old dead guy got a passport.
If you look at the Great Pyramid of Giza, it's like a half ratio of the entire Earth. Perfect. And if you look at the location it is on the Earth, the location it is the same number of the speed of light. These people were smarter than we are. We think we're so advanced with iPhones and stuff, but I think we're pretty dumb, actually. It's built to be an exact replica of half the hemisphere of the entire planet. It means that they knew the exact ratios and size of the entire planet. Right. We're talking about people that literally knew not only the circumference of the Earth, but the distance between the sun and the moon. So they designed a structure to literally mimic the cosmos to be in the precise location of the Earth that I believe had two functions. First function is I think that if you look at something like the King's Chamber, seems to be this incredibly energetic, highly conscious place that if you go, you have like profound experiences. Everybody says that. Secondly, it seems to be because the three stars are mimicking the three belt stars of Orion, and it's in that specific spot on the Earth. The way that I can describe it is they seem to be somehow either manipulating or balancing the energy of the entire planet, like the magnetosphere of the planet. Underneath the Great Pyramids, we find all 3 pyramids are built specifically on a place where the aquifer water systems came up and interacted with all the sacred geometry and like all these different things to create like a harmonic balance of energy there. So perfectly that not only that, but it's based on like our entire planet and the ratio and distances from the moon and sun. They seem to be creating some kind of a system.
How do you feel about that?
Interesting.
I think everything he said is it's true.
Yeah.
An over 2,000-year-old pot with gold jewelry, amulets, and statuettes was found at the Karnak temple complex near Luxor, Egypt. The artifacts include a triple statue of Amun, Mut, and Khonsu, as well as protective Wadjet eye amulets. Likely ritual offerings or temple donations. Their purpose remains unclear. Mud structures from the same period were previously found at the site. The artifacts will be restored and displayed at the Luxor Museum. The find provides insights into the Karnak temple's evolution and ancient Egyptian religious practices.
So they found some new stones, some new stuff. They're refurbishing actually, and then on display at the Luxor Museum. You good, crew? Froze. Okay, you're back. In froze somewhere.
Researchers re-examined a controversial Egyptian mummy long thought to be a male priest. 4 years ago, scans revealed it was a woman in her 20s, claimed to be pregnant and to have had cancer. The pregnant mummy claim caused international debate. Recently, 14 experts reanalyzed 300 CT images of the remains. They found no pregnancy. The supposed fetus material was part of embalming. No cancer was found, and skull damage was linked to mummification.
Oh, wow.
So it was not. It was not a pregnant mummy.
Gold was considered the flesh of the gods and a symbol of eternal life in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egyptians believed that their pharaohs became gods when they died, so their tombs and mummies were decorated with gold. Gold was a status symbol reserved for royalty and the elite in Egyptian society. Only pharaohs and high officials were permitted to wear golden jewelry or be buried in tombs filled with gold treasures. The Egyptians mined gold extensively in Nubia and other parts of Africa. Gold mining and crafting played a major role in the Egyptian economy. Gold was associated with the sun god Ra, and many temples and statues of the gods were adorned with golden decorations. Gold represented the eternal brilliance of the sun. Gold was crafted into funerary masks, coffins, pectorals, amulets, and statuary to guarantee the pharaoh's successful journey into the afterlife. The Egyptians believed gold possessed eternal life-giving properties. Archaeologists and other researchers continue to find new gold artifacts from ancient Egypt.
Gold was very important in their life.
Oh, yeah.
Gold seems to be a very big part of like ancient life.
Ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, Greece,
Mayan, Aztec.
I'd say French, British, Spain, everywhere. Gold is like the #1 currency way back in the day.
Yeah, it's literally everybody. At some point in their lives, were mining or killing people for gold.
Like, okay, I was watching a documentary once about the Knights of the Templar, and this one dude showed the guy who was doing the documentary gold coins that were hidden by Knights by a Knight Templar, and they found it in one of the places where apparently the Templars were posted.
Right.
On an island. And they look so cool seeing that part of history.
Just more stuff like that. So I'll have to look at that. I think that's.
I'll have to show you. I'll have to send you the documentaries I'd be looking up, and you'll be like, "Oh shit, these are cool."
Bro, we're so old. We just sit around and watch documentaries all day. We really do, though. That's all I do.
Right.
You watch documentaries all day.
Now we come to Ramses II. If Moses was, as Freud suggests, a member of the court of Akhenaten, then the Exodus must have taken place around 1358. This is the death of Akhenaten. That's the earliest date anybody's ever proposed for the Exodus. In the book of Exodus, the Pharaoh who is impugned there is probably, it seems to be, Ramses II. Ramses' dates are about 1305 to 1234 or 36. He reigned for a long, long season. He was enormously powerful. And I don't think any scholar would suggest that he could possibly have been the Pharaoh of the Exodus. Furthermore, he wasn't drowned in the Red Sea. He is entombed right here. This is the great pair of tombs of Ramses II and his favorite wife, who was one of his daughters. In Caesar and Cleopatra of Bernard Shaw, when Caesar meets Cleopatra, he has among his officers a British officer. And when he learns from Cleopatra that she was born from an incest marriage, the British officer expresses great shock. And Caesar says to Cleopatra, "Don't mind him. He's British. He thinks the laws of his tribe are the laws of the universe." So Ramses is himself among the highest deities now. And now with respect to the Exodus again.
Ew.
Right.
That's okay, though. They all did it back in the day. But I like how they don't mind the British guy. He doesn't understand. The British guy's just like, ew, they're all like sisters. This is disgusting. Ew, what is going on here?
Right.
and Caesar's like, oh, don't mind him. He's British. He can understand a good sister screw. What the hell? That's screwed up. But I mean, like, it was like huge though, like back in like biblical and like even like early on, like in certain parts of like America, like even like stickers, it's a normal freaking. It's actually pretty bad, doesn't it? Cause like deformities and like horrible things that happen to kids sometimes, like if incest occurs, because genes are you're not supposed to screw your sister.
Right. We'll have
I
some
mean,
hills
come on.
have eyes. We'll have some hills have eyes. Wrong turn kind of issues.
Yeah, that scares me. I want that to live in a I don't want hills have looking eyes, looking people around me. I can't do it. Mummies. What's the most intriguing thing for you about ancient Egypt? Because I think mine, the pyramids, and the fact that they mummified all of their people.
The pyramids being one, and the history throughout all of Egypt.
Well, I mean, for sure, but I mean, like, if you had to pick a specific thing
Um,
from the besides the
I'd say okay. So besides the history and the pyramids, I'm gonna have to say the ancient artifacts that they found.
yeah, those two for sure.
Julie said she's always liked the horns that they blew.
Heck yeah, they're shofars. I believe the Hebrews and the Israelites, and then the Vikings had their own word for them. I don't remember what the Vikings called them. They were ram's horns that they used to blow.
Right.
Yeah.
This is raw, unfiltered scientific proof of what the pyramids were really built for. This is what a real Egyptian tomb looks like. Dark, enclosed, and filled with hieroglyphs. But this is the Great Pyramid of Giza, the biggest tomb in the world. The closer you look, the more you realize that this pyramid was definitely not made for burying the dead. Why? Because the materials used to build it are exactly what we use today to create electricity. Let's break it down. Giza was once covered in bright white casing stones, polished to perfection and virtually airtight. These stones were made of limestone from Tura, a quarry 500 miles away. Wait, what? They dragged stones the length of Florida just to make the pyramids look nice and shiny? Not quite. This special limestone from Tura has less magnesium than regular limestone, making it an ideal insulator of electricity. Oh, and it also reflects sunlight, keeping the inside cool. Coincidence? Maybe, but let's keep digging. The interior chambers of the pyramid were built with rose granite, which contains asterisk 85% quartz. Quartz is piezoelectric, meaning it generates a small electric charge when moved or squeezed. The same quartz we use to power watch batteries and barbecue lighters. But that's not all. Granite also ionizes the air inside the chambers, further increasing the conductivity of electricity. And guess what? This granite was sourced from Aswan, another quarry hundreds of miles away. Now here's where it gets weird. The granite slabs inside Giza have these strange structural designs that don't exactly look decorative. In fact, they're incredibly difficult to make. Why would you build a roof like this using 80-ton stone blocks from hundreds of miles away when you can't even see it from inside the chamber? Historians claim these were relieving chambers meant to prevent the room from collapsing under the weight of the pyramid. But here's the kicker. The chambers below had no such relief. On the other hand, if you were somehow able to apply pressure to these chambers, you'd get an electric charge from the quartz. A lot of it. But electricity can't just exist on its own. To utilize it, you need to direct it through something. Enter copper, a metal often used in wires to conduct electricity. And guess what a remote camera revealed in the pyramid's narrow shafts just a few years ago? 2 copper handles embedded into the stone at the end of the shaft, the only metal ever confirmed in Giza. Oh, and there's also what appears to be a wiring diagram painted on the side of the shaft. Modern Egyptologists claim these handles were used with ropes to pull jars up the shaft. Seriously? They're really reaching at this point. These shafts have no confirmed purpose. Some call them air vents, but some don't even lead to the outside. And in 2013,
Former Egyptian Antiquities Minister Zahi Hawass was accused of stealing artifacts from the pyramid. Among the rumored stolen items, long copper wires. Strange, right? Just what you'd need to complete an electric current.
That's a weird one, man.
Yeah.
How the guy that was supposed to be watching the pyramids was stealing from the pyramids, allegedly. That's wild. That's wild. Oh my goodness. The up close shots of these mummies are so cool.
So what they would do is take gold, which is a very rare in what it does. What gold can do is you can take a little piece of gold like this big and coat this entire table. It's real weird.
Right.
So you could turn it into a fine dust, and they suspended this fine dust in their atmosphere to protect them from a degrading atmosphere because they were getting global warming or whatever.
Everybody that was...
He wrote about this in the 70s.
It doesn't matter because everybody in Egypt knew it. Like, this is where the alchemy...
Yeah, it's where it all originated.
Right.
Well,
like,
we don't even know what they knew.
None of those people are saying, hey, I came up with this shit. They're saying...
Right, somebody gave it to us.
Somebody who came from this place here came and told us that this is how this goes and this is what this is worth.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying the people that were being abused in the mines going to get the diamonds, it wasn't like that for them. It was just them getting these rocks. This crazy guy's gonna pay a day's wages for us to gather rocks.
That's gonna pay a wage to go gather some rocks. I love Cat Williams.
At Saqqara, archaeologists get ready to open the coffin of an ancient Egyptian woman.
Oh, wow.
That's very nice.
Very nice.
The team is finally face to face with a woman who lived 2.5 millennia ago. Muhammad thinks there is something unusual about the woman's body. The mummy has a mysterious-looking bump.
So maybe this woman, when she died, she was pregnant.
Excavation director Dr. Mustafa Waziri will use an X-ray machine to try to find out one way or the other. If this woman was pregnant, the X-rays could show an unborn baby. Instead, they reveal her hands. This young woman was not pregnant. The bump is formed by her hands, lying twisted across her stomach. It's an unusual pose. Normally, a mummy's hands were arranged by the sides or across the chest. But this woman's hands appear to be unnaturally contorted.
ممكن يكون عنده مشكلة في الإيدين وممكن لا. عندها حاجة في الإيدين.
Everybody looking for pregnant mummies. The mummies, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mummies so, but they're also so freaking creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that the pharaohs claim they did mummification to everybody because they believed there was a chance not only that you would use your body in the afterlife, but that you could possibly take it back into your body.
Hmm. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, it's creepy.
An ancient Egyptian mummified cow, believed to be approximately 2,300 years old, has been discovered. It is said that the finest cows were selected from the herd and offered as sacrifices to Apis, the bull god, who was worshipped as a deity of fertility and primordial strength.
Whole cow mummy. I found that. I was like, I gotta put that in here. A whole cow mummy.
Young child from the 1st century AD Roman era, resting peacefully in its coffin. The sands of time preserving not just a life but an entire era. As we open the lid, we glimpse into a past that whispers tales of a civilization long gone. This mummy, a poignant relic of the 1st century AD, invites us to unravel the secrets it carries. Wrapped in linen, adorned with symbols, this child's final resting place becomes a portal to ancient rituals and beliefs.
About that.
That sure is interesting.
Due to tomb robbery, many mummies, including those of notable pharaohs, are missing, leading to gaps in our understanding of ancient Egypt. Tomb raiding was a common crime in ancient Egypt, often leading to the destruction of culturally significant artifacts and structures. The penalties for tomb robbing were severe, including harsh physical punishment or even death, as the act was considered sacrilegious. The Valley of the Kings, a burial site for many pharaohs, has been particularly impacted by tomb raiding, with many tombs found empty or with mummies of unknown identities. Archaeologists work to discover and preserve the remaining tombs and mummies, while also trying to identify previously discovered, unknown mummies, using modern technologies like DNA. The stories of tomb robbers and missing mummies contribute to the mystique of ancient Egypt, inspiring numerous myths, legends, and works of fiction.
Like curses. This they mean works of fiction.
Right.
The coffin lid was unsealed and ever so carefully lifted off. Inside, a perfectly intact mummy, wrapped in fabric with a bit of skull showing.
I'm very happy, I'm very proud of this discovery.
Dr. Mustafa Waziri led the Egyptian team that discovered the coffins. His team was digging in the area, but not for that. First, someone spotted a painted wooden face. The 2 layers of coffins, 30 in all, including 2 children, hidden in a cachette to protect from thieves and looting. Also protected from the elements, blues, greens, and reds, vibrant 3,000 years later.
Look at the edges of the leaden base.
Yeah.
No missing pieces. It means no termites, which is the termites, they were the most dangerous.
Termites love wood.
Love what? Of course.
Now the work begins. Who were these people? Archaeologists know they were powerful, fairly certain they were priests. But what did they die of, and are there more nearby? Dr. Waziri puts that number lower. He believes they've only found a third of what might exist. Still out there, the much sought-after tomb of Queen Nefertiti.
Congratulations.
So today they celebrate, feeding hope for the next big discovery.
Do you think they'll ever find Nefertiti's tomb?
No.
No, you don't think they'll ever find Queen Nefertiti's tomb?
No.
The only woman pharaoh? Or she's not the only one. I know there's others, but she's the one I always hear about, Nefertiti.
When the Romans conquered Egypt, they wanted to crush the Egyptian population. So they did things like they banned Egyptians from owning land. They banned Egyptians from riding horses. They banned Egyptians from doing anything but wearing the color blue. And the Romans did this because they knew that the Egyptian population was going to be complicated to rule over. The Egyptians kept rebelling, so the Romans kept massacring them by mass crucifixions. And they would just crucify whole segments of the Egyptian population and then say, look, this is going to happen to you if you keep rebelling. And of course, the Egyptians just kept rebelling. Then by the time it got to 31 BC, Egypt's civilization was 4,000 years old. When Alexander the Great conquered Egypt and went to the pyramids for the first time and gazed upon the pyramids, the Giza pyramids were 2,300 years old for him. So when he was looking at the pyramids, he was going, I can't believe this is 23 centuries old, just to give you a little sense of this. We are as far from Alexander the Great as the pyramids were from him.
Jeez, that's crazy. Think about that. We're as far away from the pyramids as they were from Alexander the Great. What the fuck?
Right.
That's crazy. A big cuneiform.
This world is not what you have been told. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not simply just a giant stone structure built by primitive cultures. They've been lying to us. There's significant evidence suggesting that the pyramids were once covered by a flood. The beings who built these structures knew how to harness the Earth's energy and had a profound understanding of the stars. All the pyramids are aligned with the Orion constellation, hinting at their superior astronomical knowledge and their potential in converting celestial energy into usable power. But here's where it gets even crazier. The materials used in the pyramids' construction were no coincidence. The Nile River used to flow much closer to the pyramids than it does today. Satellite imagery and geological studies suggest that ancient channels of the Nile once brought water directly to the base of the pyramids. The pyramid's base is made out of conductive granite blocks that are filled with quartz crystals. The quartz has piezoelectric properties, meaning it is able to generate an electric charge when under pressure. The massive weight of the pyramid creates this constant pressure, therefore producing a continuous electric charge. The Nile's water acted like a hydroelectric dam. Its movement generated electromagnetic energy. Together, water, quartz, and granite were able to produce electricity. The capstones, which are now missing, also played a crucial role in this energy system. They acted as the pyramid's transmitter, collecting and directing the energy produced and possibly transmitting it wirelessly. These were not merely tombs built by slave populations. They were advanced energy machines. Just think about it. Why would a tomb need electricity?
He's got a point.
Right.
Why would a tomb need electricity?
Exactly.
Got to think about the things like that. You gotta.
Here are some facts about Egypt that everyone should know. Contrary to popular belief, recent evidence suggests that the pyramids were built by a paid workforce rather than slaves, who were well fed and housed. The Golden Fly was the highest military honor in ancient Egypt, awarded to soldiers for exceptional bravery in battle. Hatshepsut, one of the most successful female pharaohs, ruled Egypt for over 20 years and expanded trade routes, commissioning numerous building projects. The iconic bust of Queen Nefertiti, discovered in 1912, remains one of the most recognizable symbols of ancient Egyptian beauty and power. Ancient Egyptians wrote on papyrus, a paper-like material made from the papyrus plant, which grew abundantly along the Nile River.
Hopsetshut. I can't say that. Hopsetshut. Hopsetshut. Hopsetshut.
In 1908, President Teddy Roosevelt sought to protect the Grand Canyon from timber and mining operations. Explorer G.E. Kincaid, anticipating the closure, mounted an expedition to the area to find minerals. But what he discovered there was something completely unexpected. Approximately 40 miles upriver from El Tovar Crystal Canyon, Kincaid observed unusual sediment stains, and upon investigation found a cavern entrance with steps leading to it, suggesting a man-made structure. Inside, Kincaid found writings on the walls not in English or Native American scripts, but in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. This finding suggested a historical connection far beyond local or known civilizations. The cave system revealed a vast underground city, estimated to house up to 50,000 people, complete with granaries, cooking areas, and artifacts indicating a sophisticated society with knowledge of metalwork and possibly agriculture. Among the findings were granaries with preserved seeds, tools made of copper indicating a lost art of hardening the metal, and various artifacts that pointed to a technologically advanced civilization. The complexity of the cave system with engineered passageways and rooms challenged contemporary understandings of ancient civilizations in North America. Kincaid's findings led to a Smithsonian expedition led by Professor S.A. Jordan, which further explored the cave system, uncovering a central chamber with a statue resembling Buddha, hinting at a cultural amalgamation or influence from distant lands. The artifacts and the layout of the cave suggested a deliberate, sophisticated design, contradicting the notion of an isolated or primitive local civilization. Despite significant discoveries, mainstream researchers and the Smithsonian have labeled the account as a hoax and dismissing the claims of an advanced civilization predating Native Americans in the Grand Canyon, and the possibility of ancient transoceanic contacts that might have influenced pre-Columbian American civilizations. Any and all attempts to further explore or validate Kincaid's findings face governmental restrictions, with areas off limits for exploration. This remarkable discovery aligns with local tribal legends, such as those of the Hopi, suggesting a historical basis for tales of ancient peoples and non-human entities emerging from the Grand Canyon, blending myth with tangible archaeological intrigue.
Yeah, so that was quite a bit to take in at once. But I know that I've talked to you before personally about that specific instance of that man, that explorer, finding ancient Egyptian artifacts and mummies and different things inside of the Grand Canyon caverns. That's been a story forever.
Right.
Like, and if it's true, that's one of the craziest stories I've ever heard in my life. And the fact they shut the Grand Canyon down to all exploring leads me to believe it's probably true.
Right.
But guys, we've reached that point in our show where we are at our last video. Tonight, we discussed pyramids. We discussed Israelite slaves. We discussed the Bible aspect behind the Israelites and the ancient Egyptians and what could have happened, what may have happened, and what allegedly happened. And we have just hit head on about Egypt tonight. I think my favorite part of learning about Egypt is always the pyramids, because I feel like there's so much secret hidden from us in those pyramids, and they just don't tell us. We're not told half of the stuff that is going on. And if these cultures figured out ways, specifically ways to power their entire communities with basically free energy, with energy that's just created by a pyramid that's constantly just creating energy, that it doesn't take anything except for that to be built. That's absolutely insane, and that's awesome. And I don't understand why we in humanity, instead of trying to mimic that, we charge everybody. Like, it's crazy. Like, we have power plants, but they're the exact opposite of what a pyramid is.
Right.
Our power plants are meant so that they can charge us money to power our houses and our microwaves and our TVs. It's crazy how much that they actually get away with taxing us and charging us.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It's crazy. Well, let's hit this last video.
The Egyptian artifacts make absolutely zero sense, and archaeologists might just be afraid of being wrong. How is it the further back in time we go, the more advanced they get? Egypt is old, like really old. Egypt is so old that even ancient Egyptians studied ancient Egyptian history thousands of years older than them. When the Romans discovered the pyramids, they were older to the Romans than the Romans are to us today. Woolly mammoths still roamed the earth when they were first built. And of course, everyone knows that Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone, or hell, closer to you watching this video right now than she did to the construction of the pyramids. What's strange is that as time went on, their artifacts somehow got less and less advanced. The Egyptian Empire reigned for about 3,000 years, divided into approximately 31 dynasties classified into the Old, Middle, and New Kingdoms. When we go back to the first 5 or so dynasties, the Old Kingdom, we see impressive feats of design engineering unlike any other. And impressive is an understatement. These are straight up machine perfect down to the micrometer. Like this round vase, perfectly balancing itself dead center on a point no larger than the tip of an egg. Except this isn't your pottery class vase made of clay. It's granite. And granite is harder than steel. That's a fact. Here are the numbers. Here's another vase, slightly chipped, revealing its walls are as thin as a playing card. Another bowl made from diorite, a stone as hard or even slightly harder than granite, whose walls are literally 1/40th of an inch or half a millimeter thick. We have no idea how to make granite pottery like this using known ancient methods, although high-tech machines could probably do the trick. But I don't think you realize how insane it is to suggest that this level of mechanical precision was achieved on granite using primitive tools softer than granite, the official claim. And these are just a few. There were over 40,000 of these artifacts found under the Step Pyramid of Djoser dating back to the 3rd or 4th dynasty, with some suggesting they're actually pre-dynastic, meaning they're even older, and the Old Kingdom Egyptians just inherited them from a previous civilization. Oh, we're in too deep now, Johnny boy. It's only in recent times when we finally analyzed them with modern light scanning technology that we found out how mind-bendingly precise they really are. They took a jar, did some measurements in a lab, and to this day, Egyptologists have no explanation for these results. The top of the vase was 3/1000ths of an inch away from being perfectly flat, something only possible with like CNC machines today. For reference, a sheet of paper is 7/1000ths of an inch thick. A human hair is 2 to 3. This thing was a literal hair away from being perfectly flat. The inside lip of the vase's mouth was 1/1000th of an inch away from being perfectly perpendicular to the top, which is a mathematically flawless right angle. And the entire vase base was 13 thousandths of an inch, which is still just like 2 sheets of paper away from being perfectly circular. These are legit CNC machine level perfections, mass produced over 40,000 times on a material harder than steel using copper and stone tools by hand. Oh, and they might be pre-dynastic before copper tools were widely even used. I don't see an ounce of logic in that. Okay, maybe this one was just a fluke, right? A one-off perfect vase as a result of mass producing over 40,000 of them. So they took more into the lab and found even more astonishingly accurate measurements, revealing alleged machine-calculated mathematical use of pi, the golden ratio, and more, again to within thousandths of an inch of accuracy. That's like that much. Everything from the flatness of the base, the roundness, and even the uniformity of the thickness of the walls was nothing less of CNC machine perfection. Justifying this by saying they were just really skilled or they had a lot of time does not explain this level of precision with the known tools and methods at their disposal. There are even some vases that are reportedly made from corundum, which is magnitudes harder than granite and sits right behind diamond on the hardness scale. Although this one is for some reason debated, a lot of people claim it isn't made from corundum, but still others insist it is. A single one of these pots would have likely taken weeks, if not months, given modern explanations. Shouldn't there be evidence of their highly precise techniques all over ancient Egypt? Oh, there was this, a hieroglyph outlining the sculpting of an alabaster vase, one of the softest materials ever, softer than marble, and totally possible with their tools. But it's been proven that the technique outlined here would not work with granite. Sure, cutting into huge slabs using rough and painstakingly slow techniques using those tools might be possible, as we've seen them desperately trying to prove, but the force of friction required to achieve that simply would not be possible on small, delicate artifacts like these, never mind how machine accurate they are. Some of these vases are as small as a thimble, not even practical, and even harder to make, almost like they were just showing off, like, look what we can do. One theory is that these vases were spun on some sort of grinding tool, for which they have no evidence nor recordings of, but that's completely blown out of the water with the lug handles on the sides here. It's pretty obvious these wouldn't be possible from spin grinding. Absolutely no one can explain how these lug handles were made, which again, lab results showed that they too were perfectly symmetrical and level to each other to within thousandths of an inch. Later dynasties even tried recreating these jars, and although still impressive, are nowhere near the precision of the earlier ones. This level of advanced pottery is said to have reached its peak in the first 2 dynasties, and then poof, they just forgot how to do it, which leads people to believe these artifacts might be much older than anyone thinks. What if they inherited them from even earlier previous civilizations? And it doesn't end with these. There's also the schist disc crafted from a single piece of stone. Tell me, what kind of stone can be shaped like this by hand? No one really knows what this is, said to be a bowl or a flower holder of some sort, even though it looks sorta mechanical. Recovered from a first dynasty tomb, and again thought to be even older than that. Then we get to the statues, and these somehow make even less sense. The face of Ramesses at Luxor. Several of these statues were made in honor of the pharaoh Ramesses. Engineer Christopher Dunn noticed that there was something off about these faces. They were perfect, but almost too perfect, and not in a human way. He took a photo of the statue head, made it 50% transparent, flipped it, and overlaid the left side on the right side. Doing this, he discovered the face was perfectly symmetrical. Centerline measurements confirmed this too. It's like half the head was carved, then copy-pasted to the other half. We see consistent eye-to-mouth profile ratios across all of these statue heads, something that we'd likely do with like 3D modeling programs today, computer accurate precision. Same thing with the crowns on their heads, and this wasn't done just once but repeated among many statues. This isn't something that anyone could just eyeball, but experts insist they were all done by hand. Professional sculptor Mike Leckie even wrote in a letter saying that his modern diamond tools would have been well worn out before barely even starting to sculpt something like this out of granite, and states that it would have been borderline impossible to repeatedly achieve this level of accuracy time and time again using only the tools we have evidence of. What machining technologies did ancient Egyptians or even earlier civilizations before them possess that archaeologists just simply refuse to even consider?
But it straight up makes me think of like they had laser cutting technology. That's what it makes me think. You know, like somebody was helping them. Somebody
Right.
that was from that world was helping ancient Egypt. I don't know, man. Julie says, by the way, she really enjoyed tonight and she hopes we have that. Thanks, Julie. I hope
Thank you,
it
Julie.
also. Tonight has been wonderful. We'll
Yes,
probably
it
do
has.
another part on ancient Egypt. JD says, well, in the cases that faces weren't likely the actual people because people don't have symmetric faces. Yeah, that's true. That's very
That
true.
is true.
The cutting of the faces, though, regardless, I can't believe that any of it was done by chisel, like hand and chisel. It's way too smooth. It looks way too good. It's absolutely insane to say that was done by chisel. But who knows? Like at this point, I'm like, maybe they had like some crazy laser chisel. I don't know. You saw that piece of like metal thing, like it was apparently not metal. Apparently it was like some like rock or gemstone, but that weird cut thing that was like it looked like a gear. Like it would go into something that was mechanical. What if
Yeah.
that's one of the gears to the machine that you cut those out? Like quite honestly, like how are we as people like I understand that ancient Egypt like happened a long time ago and that a lot of stuff is missing because people stole stuff. So I totally get that. I know that a lot of shit was melted down because it was made out of gold. And a lot of other countries were like, "Oh, we'll just raid Egypt and melt down all their gold." So it's pretty intense to actually understand that that whole era, besides the Bible, is basically gone. We have a bit of knowledge about where certain things came from, and we know about certain pharaohs and certain time periods, but we don't actually know what some of the monuments and some of the actual things mean. Like, so much so to the point that we did what the hell the pyramids did for the last how many years, and we're just now finding out that there's a lot of crap underneath them, which we're going to cover a lot more later on. But it's interesting. I had a great night, dude.
Me too.
Awesome podcast.
And I can't wait for tomorrow because this is gonna be the season finale, and we're doing my E-Fed for the season finale.
Yep. So Crew's got a special episode tomorrow. It's basically a documentary, docu series, a miniature documentary on his E-Fed. So you guys will learn all about it.
Oh, JD said they had magicians back then, so maybe magic was part of how they did things, which I
Oh,
absolutely agree.
For sure. So this is gonna sound crazy, but don't I don't believe in traditional beliefs. I pray to Anubis, and I've always had a strong the god of the underworld, Anubis. And I don't see him as a bad god. I see all of the deities of ancient Egypt as the same gods that were talked about through like ages. And I think if Anubis is anything, he's just the fear and feeling and hope and prayer of getting to an afterlife and having something after you die. So I feel like really connect to Anubis in that aspect. I've really been into that stuff growing up. I consider myself pagan. Anubis is basically what I pray to. So I know that sounds insane or whatever, but that's my spiritual perspective on the world is pray to Anubis if you want to live. No, I'm just kidding. I don't push my religion on anybody.
What historic do you have of this god?
Of Anubis? Okay, well, Anubis, obviously, a lot of ancient Egyptian, so a lot of people discredited and claimed that Anubis was god of the dead originally, but that is actually not correct. Anubis is the embalmment and mummification process. So when the ancient Egyptian person were to die, pass away, the high priests would drag them into somewhere and they would perform basically the ancient Egyptian autopsy, where they pulled out all your organs through like your brain and stuff, like through your nose and nostrils. They did a lot of crazy stuff. And then they salted your body and put it like weird things and then mummified you. And basically, when they mummified you, they prayed to Anubis, who was a god of mummification and embalmment, that he would make sure that you made it to the afterlife. And Anubis had I believe it's Anubis's son. Anubis had a son, Set, who ended up being the god of war in Egypt. And Set actually kills Anubis and in ancient Egyptian lore. And Set, it's the he's either the brother or the father to Anubis. But the story is you can't trust anybody, especially blood. Basically, that's the story behind Set and Anubis. But this has been around for a long time, and the reason I feel like I have a strong connection with Anubis is death has always followed me in my life. Like, ever since I was little, I don't remember not going to a funeral. I don't remember not hearing about a suicide. I don't remember not hearing about an overdose. I don't remember not losing somebody. I lost so many people that I got to the point of where I pray to Anubis that he helps all of them and that he helps the world. Anubis is a wonderful god. He's not as bad as people make him out to be. I know that Christians believe, and I know what Catholics believe, Jews believe, because I grew up Jewish, and they all believe that I'm going to hell because I pray to a deity. I get it. A lot of people don't appreciate pagans, and that's fine. That's okay. You're allowed to have your own opinion. And I'm not saying that anybody is hating on me for it. I'm just saying I know somebody will watch this later on and be like, oh my god, this dude's pagan, attack him. It doesn't bother me. You can do whatever. But either way, guys, ancient Egypt is one of my favorite subjects.
Mine
specifically
too.
pyramids, specifically pharaohs, specifically the hieroglyphs and the language, and just being able to learn about specific these specific culture, um, their specific culture creations, and what we do know and what we have knowledge about, and then the mysterious objects that we don't have knowledge about. And before we leave, I'm going to leave you on a really weird note here. One of the pyramids in Egypt, and I believe it to be the Big Pyramid of Giza, the huge one, not the small one, but the big one that's missing the capstone. That one has a oddly shaped. Get this, it has a oddly shaped center marker in the middle of the pyramid that is the exact diameter, like, for the Ark of the Covenant to fit into. Now, take that into perspective. Like, it's down to the measurement, apparently. And this has been through ancient Egypt for a long time. Or, like, not ancient Egypt, but like modern day Egypt. It's legend and lore. But they believe that there's a literal spot in the ancient pyramid of Giza that is supposed to house the Ark of the Covenant. And that could power the entire pyramid by itself. So that's a fun little theory.
Well, tonight's been great. We learned a lot. And just so everybody knows, I want to read this real quick before I make my announcement. Okay. Yes. I agree, Julie. It is very interesting. And then JD said something to consider.
Yeah.
So we will not be on YouTube tomorrow because the CEW episode is going to be on Twitch. And here's why. YouTube does not like us very much.
Well, they don't like the music.
Right. They don't like the music part of what we do. So we're going to do our episode on Twitch, the season finale. So if anybody who can get access to Twitch, go for it. Watch us on Twitch. We'll be on Facebook. Like, subscribe, share, the whole ordeal. But yeah, go to our Facebook page if you want to see the episode, or look us up on Twitch. Let's see what was said. Hello, YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna have a lot of guests on the show. Hopefully, I got a few already coming. Robert's excited for this one because he's gonna meet a lot of people that compete for me, and I hope you all get a really good interest in this whole season finale we do.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I think tonight we're done. So we hope you guys have a great night. I hope each and every one of you enjoyed the show. We always enjoy you guys watching, listening, and hanging out with us. If you enjoyed this stream, please like, share, and subscribe our video. It would help us out a lot. It would mean a lot to us. If you could do that for us, that would be absolutely awesome. If not, it's okay too. Anyways,
you also have a good night as well, JD.
Of the Robert and Crew Show.
Mm-hmm.
JD, have a wonderful night. Julie, have a wonderful night. Talk to y'all later. Good night.
If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.